My name is Thomas Crockett, and I'm going to be doing a chapter review of Chapter 8 of our textbook titled Leadership: A Communication Perspective. The title of our chapter is Leadership and Organizations, and the quote to open up the chapter is, "We view leadership as a verb, not a job." The overview for this chapter is just a few things that we should kind of take away and think about after reading this. Is that the first one is the leader as culture maker, and we talk about the elements of organizational culture, shaping culture, and creating an adaptive, learning, trusting culture. We then talk about the leader as sense maker, intergroup leadership, and then finally the power of expectations, the Pygmalion effect. And that goes into the communication of expectations, the Galati effect, if I'm saying that right, and putting Pygmalion to work. First thing I want to talk about is the rituals, rites, and routines that involve repeated patterns of behavior. Things like saying hello in the morning to everyone on the floor, an annual staff retreat, or disciplinary procedures. Um, and then we talk about some common organizational rites, which are, there's actually a handful of them. It's the rites of passage, the rites of degradation, the rites of enhancement, the rites of renewal, the rites of conflict reduction, rites of integration, rites of creation, rites of transition, and rites of parting. The first rite, the rite of passage, marks important events and important changes in roles and when joining the army, for instance, the new recruit is stripped of his or her civilian identity and converted into a soldier with a new haircut, uniform, and prescribed ways of speaking and walking. The rites of degradation. Some rituals are used to lower the status of organizational members, such as when a coach or top executive is fired. These events are characterized as degradation talk aimed at decrediting the poor performer. Critics may claim, for example, that the coach couldn't get along with the players or that the executive was overly demanding. Then there's rites of enhancement. Unlike rites of degradation, rites of enhancement raise the standing of organizational members, giving medals to athletes and soldiers, listing faculty publications in the college newsletter, and publicly distributing sales bonuses are examples of such rituals. Then there's rites of renewal, which strengthen the current system. Many widely used management techniques like management by objectives and organizational development are rites of renewal because they serve the status quo. Then there's rites of conflict reduction, which is when organizations routinely use collective bargaining, task forces, and committees to resolve conflicts. Even though committees may not make important changes, their formation may reduce tension. We then move on to rites of integration. Rites of integration tie subgroups to the large system. Annual stockholder meetings, professional gatherings, and office picnics all integrate people into larger organizations. Then there's rites of creation, which celebrate and encourage change, helping organizations remain flexible in turbulent environments marked by rapid shifts in markets and technology. Some groups rotate individuals in and out of the role of devil's advocate to challenge the status quo, for example. Then we have rites of transition, which is meetings, speeches, and other strategies can help organizational members accept changes that they didn't plan, as in the case of an unexpected merger. Addressing what the group has lost can ease the transition to a new culture. And then finally, there's rites of parting, which is when organizations die. Parting ceremonies are common. Members meet to reminisce and to say goodbye, often over meals. These events help participants understand and accept the loss and provide them with the emotional support that they need. And then there's a quote that says, those who give voice and form to our search for meaning and who help us make our world purposeful, are leaders we cherish and to whom we return gift for gift. Thanks for listening.